I'm Staff Sergeant Allie Rose. The Department of Defense has announced the release of the service's final review of the report, Protecting the Force, Lessons Learned from Fort Hood. It's been just over a year since accused gunman Major Nadal Hassan opened fire at Fort Hood, killing 13 people and wounding dozens more. As a result of the reports, the DoD says it will track implementation of the various recommendations contained in the report. You can find links to each of the service's reports at defense.gov/advisories. Defense Secretary Robert Gates has arrived in Malaysia to bolster closer bilateral ties with the country. Meeting with defense officials in Kuala Lumpur, Secretary Gates acknowledged the contributions Malaysia is making. He also believes both countries should explore ways to broaden their military relationship. The Navy has diverted the aircraft carrier USS Ronald Reagan from training to help a stranded cruise ship off Baja, California. Officials say an engine room aboard the Carnival Splendor caught fire. The luxury cruise ship is carrying nearly 3,300 passengers and about 1,200 crew members. There are no reports of injuries. Officials say the ship will be towed back to shore. The first piracy trial in the U.S. in more than 100 years is set to begin Tuesday. 5 Somali men are accused of firing assault rifles at the USS Nicholas off the coast of Africa back in April. The suspected pirates are accused of shooting at the Navy ship in an attempt to plunder what they thought was a merchant ship. The men were eventually captured and brought back to the U.S.
Well, a recent report about poorly made prescription medication has some wondering whether or not their medication has been compromised and what they can do to protect themselves. The affected medications include a popular antidepressant, an anti-nausea drug, and one used by diabetics. Military health officials say patients are protected through checks and balances and should always discuss concerns with their provider. Petty Officer Courtney Dock has more.
Learning the medication you've been taking has been recalled, and worse, that it may be compromised, can certainly be unsettling, and not just for patients.
Then what we have to do is go in and run a report on all the patients who have received that medication, and then we contact each patient and give them the information that there's been a recall. We need them to return their unused medications to us. And if there are concerns, they can make an appointment to see their doctor to talk about any events they may be having.
But the Army Surgeon General's pharmacy consultant says recalls don't always affect patients directly.
If it's to just the pharmacy level, then we don't contact the patients, because the FDA has determined that the medication, while they want to pull back what has not been dispensed yet, the medication is still safe to the patient for them to take.
Pharmacists would then meet with manufacturers to provide alternative medication if necessary. But a recall or warning by the FDA doesn't always mean the patient should stop taking their medication.
A lot of times that may be because of the type of medication it is. It may be more dangerous for the patient to stop what they're on than it is for them to continue taking what they're on.
And should a patient still feel uncomfortable about the medication,
the best action they can do is come in, see the provider, let the provider assess them and see have they had any adverse effects, and let the provider make a decision if he's going to change them to an alternate medication or not. But the first step would be any concerns, you need to call the provider and make an appointment and talk with them.
Pharmacists also report monthly to the Pharmacy and Therapeutics Committee on what has been recalled and who was affected, so there's always a record available. Petty Officer Courtney Dock, Pentagon Channel News.
Coming up and around the services, Marines get ready to celebrate another birthday. We'll show you some of the preparations underway. But first, pursuing the enemy. We head downrange where high-tech systems are doing their part to help U.S. service members keep crime at bay.